What's going on, fight fans? Welcome back to Carlo Prusa MMA. Today, I am here with top mixed martial arts prospect. He is Mr. Tommy Gunn, Tommy McMillen. Tommy, we're only a few weeks out. You're going to the Dana White COntenders Series. You're taking on Austin Bashi for a chance to get into the UFC going down September 3rd. What's the mindset like, man, knowing you're only a few weeks away from going out here to this huge opportunity?
Mindset's the same as every other fight. It's just wait, are you still there? Right?
You're good. We're good.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, just same, nothing new, same mindset as every other fight, you know what I mean? Obviously I'm excited to be able to do my thing in front of Uncle Dana though. I've been trying to fight in front of him for a very long time now, so I'm pretty excited about that for sure.
How did you get your start in the world of mixed martial arts, my friend?
I kind of grew up around it. I started wrestling when I was 3 years old. My oldest memories are me out on the wrestling mat. I did that throughout my whole childhood. I started boxing. My dad, um, my dad did a lot of like some semi-pro boxing matches back in the day. So I grew up watching him hit mitts and kind of just grew up around the sport that way. And then, yeah, I just started wrestling. Fell in love with wrestling. Then around the age of three. Or no, in third grade, I made a trip out to Vegas for like a wrestling thing, and I ended up stopping by Randy Couture's gym, Extreme Couture. I remember checking that out, and then we'd watch like the fights growing up. So about like in third grade, I really kind of decided, like I saw the fights on TV, and I was like, hey, like I want to do that, and kind of had my sights set on it since third grade. I started going to the gym after school as a young kid. I'd walk to the gym. I'd do wrestling all year round just to get kind of closer to anything I could do up in Montana. There wasn't any jiu-jitsu programs growing up in Montana. MMA is pretty it's a pretty it's not as advanced in Montana as it is in other sports. If you know what I mean, there's not that many academies and whatnot. So I just kind of did what I could do to box and wrestle to stay on the path, and then when I turned 18, I moved out to Arizona to train full time. So,
There's another UFC guy who's making a lot of noise from Montana, and that's the Sugar Show. That's Sean O'Malley. That's a guy that you've become pretty good friends with. How did you meet him, man? When did this all start?
yeah, I mean, I talk about that story quite a bit on my the YouTube documentary. I've been posting up on my YouTube. It's kind of a long story, but to sum it up, like I said, the fight scene in Montana is super small, man. Tim Welch, I remember watching him fight as a young kid. I was about sixth grade, probably when maybe like fourth, fifth, sixth grade when I started going to like the local fights. I'd see Tim Welch perform. He's a pretty popular dude up in Montana. He's a pioneer of the sport. So I knew a Tim, and I followed his career closely. I was always messaging him back in like sixth grade saying, hey man, like I can't wait till I move out to Arizona type deal. Like it's always something I wanted to do. I knew that's what I had to do. And then, I was going to the local fights, and I was probably about middle school at the time because Sean's like about 4 or 5 years older than me or whatever. And so I was going to the local fights, and then I saw this curly-headed kid with, some flashy style, and that was Sean back in the day. I even watched a lot of his amateur fights, and so I was able to see him fight amateur quite a bit. The fight scene in Montana is super small, so I'd see him at all the fights, all the little local shows, and I always planned on going out to Arizona, but then I even saw him go do it and him move out there and start training with Tim, and I saw the success that he had from moving out, and I knew right then and there, like, yeah, that I was right. I needed to get out to Arizona. That's the path. I saw Sean start to do really good when he moved out to Arizona. He got way better. I'd watch his performances, and then, I never really met him too much. We'd see each other around at the fights, but we were never really good friends. But I always stayed in pretty good touch with Tim, just messaging him and whatnot, and then when when I was about 18, I told Tim like, hey man, like I really want to move out now, and he said, yeah, just keep taking local fights up Montana as much as you can, keep training. I'm gonna help you get out here. And then he messaged me about 6 months later, and he said, hey, Suge's getting on the Contender Series. He's gonna buy a house. Do you want to move out and rent one of the rooms out of his house and see if you can come do this shit for real? Because doing it out here in Arizona at the highest level. That's what we do. Like there's a lot of world champs out here. It's the hot spot for mixed martial arts, so I knew to become the best, I need to go out and train with the best and test my skills. So I jumped on that opportunity right away. I told Tim, yeah, I want to do that. So it's yeah. So I mean that's kind of how that happened. Tim told me, hey, like move out. So I moved out and I drove out here and I pulled up to Suge's house and yeah, the rest is kind of history.
Obviously O'Malley been doing some huge things in the UFC, becoming champion last year. I mean, one of the stars of the sport. Obviously, him becoming champion, huge deal. What was that opportunity? What was that moment like for you to be there with him, to support him after knowing him for so long, and see him do such a great thing?
Yeah, I mean, dude, that's if anything, it's just giving me more confidence. You know what I mean? Seeing somebody from the same place that I'm from go out there and make that happen, it just makes it more real and just takes away all the excuses and just just go out there and work hard and get it done. So I mean, it definitely is cool to watch him do that, and it definitely added a lot of confidence to my path for sure.
You've been on quite the roll so far in your mixed martial arts career. I mean, you went undefeated as an amateur. You're a 6-0 professional fighter right now. And I think one of the things that really separate you is the fact you're very well rounded. You can handle yourself with the feet. You can do very well on the mat. And, my opinion, to be in the UFC in this day and age, you have to be well rounded. There's no doubt about it. At what time did you and maybe Tim really start thinking, hey, if we're going to do this, we need to make sure we're sufficient everywhere?
That's kind of something I definitely kind of took in my own hands a little bit when I moved out here. I've always been a scrappy, tough kid and never been one to shy away from a fight or anything like that. Um, and I was once upon a time just a grappler. That's my base. That's what I'm really good at. I'm one of the best grapplers in the world. I'll confidently say that. I just don't really need to show it that often because I like to stand up and strike. I'm a 6 foot tall 145 or like 6'1". So I'm built like a striker. I got good length, and I just honestly watching Shug over the years, I just seeing how he uses his length and his reach as a striking advantage. I kind of just watched that style and started to mimic that a little bit on my own, and kind of take that a few pointers from his style, just the way he can manage distance, use the tools that he's gifted with. And I started doing that on my feet, and then really started to work with Tim even more on the striking, and old Uncle Timbo really taught me how to turn over some right hands and some left hooks and knock people out. You know what I mean? So yeah, we can do it all. I'm down to stand with the best of them, and I'll grapple with the best of them. I'm a true mixed martial artist. I've been living this lifestyle for a very long time. I've been training full time since I was 18 out here in Arizona. I've not stopped at all. It's all I've done. I've never worked a 9 to 5 job. I've always been in the gym no matter what. So yeah, I'm a full out martial artist, and that doesn't just come to my training too. It's how I live my life. I'm reading, I'm journaling, I'm cold plunging. I truly live like a real martial artist, and I think that's what's going to show on September 3rd.
So many people watch combat sports in this day and age. So many people love mixed martial arts. They see some of the bigger guys in the sport and they're like, oh, what a wonderful lifestyle. Little do they know to get there. I mean, it is a grind. I mean, it is a hell of a fight. A lot of sacrifices need to be made by people. Guys have to work sometimes 40 hours a week to afford the training. They have kids. They don't see their family much. They have to get punched in the face. They keep sticking with it day in and day out. You're lucky you don't have the job. You're able to focus on 24/7, but you still have your sacrifices that have to be made. What stays makes you keep motivated and stick through them?
Yeah, I mean, it's just I've sacrificed a lot to get here. Moved away from my friends and family when I was 18. Never really visited, never looked back. I came out here and I devoted my life to this sport. I didn't come out here and make new friends. Everything I do is inside the gym. And I've built a lot of things outside the gym too, that have come from this lifestyle, and I think that's what kind of motivates me. I kind of already have some things to defend that this life has brought me. A lot of people don't know, like the way I kind of about. So I mean, I've always found ways to stay in the gym and stay consistent in the gym, doing different kind of side hustles and whatnot. And then a couple of years ago, I really just want to take my training to the next level and even overcommit a little bit more, like 2 3 years ago, and I got into sales, and I was waking up knocking doors early as hell, selling solar, and then I was going to the gym, still training full time because as that job I could kind of do it in between training sessions. So I was going to the gym, then I go knock doors in the hot Arizona sun to sell solar, and I did that for a while in the summer, and I was able to do really good in that, because my motivation was to make enough money to stay in the gym full time. I did really good in that, and then I was able to use my network to create a sales team under me. That I've been able to recruit some of my close friends from Montana, and I moved them out here, and they're working for me on my sales team. I got about 20 guys, that I was able to get out here working under me. So I make really good passive income from my sales team, and that all came, from grinding in MMA and wanting to go down this path, So I've made a lot of sacrifices, and I've built a life out here, that's kept me in the gym, and that's what I'm willing to defend that. I'll fight anybody at 145 pounds to defend that. So I've made a lot of sacrifices. I've went through the fire, and I truly believe it's my time. I know my opponent's a pretty tough opponent. He's skilled, but I've just been through more of the fire than he has, and September 3rd is my time. So.
The last time you were out in the cage, you took on Josh Wright. Very nice guillotine choke, first round. Walk me through that finish a little bit. When you had him there, at what point did you think you could land it?
Yeah, I don't really I don't really like to do chokes too much. I like to stand and bang. I'm always looking for right hands. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go out there, put this kid's lights out, hit him with some right hands.
After the win, your last fight against Josh Wright, did you feel like you did enough to get to the Contender Series?
Yeah, I feel like I've been doing enough. I finished I'm not like this other kid. I don't win unanimous decisions against these guys that are on the regional scene. Any guy that's been in there with me, he gets out there in the first round. That's just how it is. I'm too dangerous. I have too many tools for these guys. One way or another, I'm going to get you out there in the first round. So that's just what I do. And, yeah, I'll fight anybody at 145 pounds. So.
Do you remember where you were at when you got the phone call that you were going to be fighting on the Contender Series?
Yeah, actually, I was just laying in my bed right over here in my room. I kind of had a funny feeling because we've been gunning for it. The goal is to get to about 5, 6, 7-0 or whatever, and try to get me in. So we know I've been ready. We see what I do in the gym against world class athletes and people that are making a lot of money doing this. So I know where I stand. I know I could have been in the UFC a long time ago. COVID kind of slowed down my role a little bit because I couldn't take fights for a while. But I was in the gym throughout COVID for 3 years, helping Suge get ready for fights and whatnot. So I've been ready for a long time. But yeah, I was just in my room chilling, and Tim messaged me and he said, "Hey man, call me." And just the way he said it, I knew right away what that was. So he called me and he told me who the opponent was, and I couldn't be more excited. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have it any other way, and I wouldn't pick a different opponent. And that's the difference between me and this kid. I know I heard a interview from him or something somewhere along the lines that came across my timeline, and he was expecting to just get the call up to UFC. He almost had some disappointment in his face when they told me he was going to fight on the Contender Series. He just wanted to get he thought that beating these regional bums that he's been fighting was enough to get to get to the UFC just to call up. That's what he expected. I don't want no easy fucking call up or anything like that. I want to go put on a high level performance in front of my new boss, Dana White, and show the world what I'm made out of, and put another so-called top prospect in the world out cold. So that's what I'm gonna go do.
So you're taking on Austin Bashi. You've referred to him a little bit here. I think this is really one of the fights of the whole season. I'm surprised this isn't the main event of that week. That kind of caught me off guard. But overall, what do you think of him as an opponent?
Yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way, right? That, like I keep saying, they're calling him the so-called best prospect in the country and in the world, maybe, or whatever they're calling him. And that's the kind of kid I want to go out there and dust in the first round. So that's what I'm gonna go do. And yeah, I really want to have another matchup. Dude's a short grappler. That I've been fighting short grapplers my whole life. I've been wrestling since I was 3 years old. I'm excited for this matchup. So I wouldn't pick another opponent, honestly, at all. Like I wouldn't. There's no other opponent I'd rather have. So.
Do you think his style allows him to be susceptible to shots and maybe easy to maybe knock out there early?
I think he's I think he's got a good style that's worked for him. He He's a grappler with a good little gas tank, and it works against these regional bums that he's been fighting. I've been doing this at too high of a level for too long of a time. I have too many weapons to beat this kid with. So I'm excited for this matchup.
What would it mean for you, Tommy, to be in the UFC?
When I get in the UFC September 3rd and Dana calls me up there, it's gonna be pretty exciting. It's expected, but at the same time, it is gonna be exciting because honestly, the biggest reason why I'm so excited to get into UFC, dude, is because I truly love to do this shit and perform for my fans and put on these high level performances and entertain these people. And I know once I get to UFC, I'm gonna have the platform to do that whenever I want to, because they do fights in UFC all the time. There's plenty of people there that will fight me. I don't like to wait around that long. I like to fight. I like to perform for people. And when I get in the UFC, I know Uncle Dana's going to have plenty of matchups for me, and I'll be able to fight as many times as I want and give my fans the violence they deserve. So that's what I'm super excited about.
In addition to a world-class fighter, man, you're also a showman. I mean, you're an entertainer. Everything about you is entertaining. If they watch your Instagram, you're putting out great content. You're really starting to get a following. Is the entertainment side of things, is that something you've always thought was important, or is that something that Sean really instilled in you?
I've taken notes from plenty of people, and I just kind of know this was it comes naturally. When I used to wrestle, I wasn't necessarily the most technical wrestler, but I was probably one of the most fun wrestlers to watch. It's just I'm having so much fun when I'm doing this shit, and this is truly all I've ever wanted to do for my life. So when I'm in there, I'm truly just having fun. You can't beat me in there. You can't break me in there because I love this shit. I really do. Like, the deeper the water goes, the darker it gets, the better I'm gonna do. And the showmanship is that's just who I am. I really love this shit on that level. And to be honest, my fan base is like my family. They're literally, I've never got so much love and support in my life, and I love my fan base. And so it makes it easy to go out there, perform, and put on the entertainment that these guys deserve, because they truly deserve that. They're the best in the world. I have the best fan base, and we're just getting started. So, it's pretty easy to go out there and perform for these guys. But yeah, I've always known. I've just been studying the game my whole life. You know what I mean? It's not enough to just be a decent fighter. I could go in there and lay on people like this kid does too. I could be a boring fighter and just lay on people and beat them that way. But I'm an entertainer, and I'm gonna go out there and give the fans what they want to see.
So who's going to be in your corner for this one? Is it going to be Sean and Tim?
Yeah, it'll be Sean and Tim. Obviously, Sean's got his fight coming up a week and a half after mine. So there's something could pop up type of deal. But as of right now, yeah, it's gonna be Sean, Tim, and my striking partner JJ.
So obviously, Sean O'Malley taking on Marab next in the Sphere could be one of those events that once in a lifetime, one of the biggest events ever. For someone who could be in the UFC at that time, you maybe thought maybe undercard, someone drops out.
I'm a fucking wild man, dude, and I love to fight. I go out there, dust this kid the way I want to do it. Don't take much damage. I'll hop right up on that mic and tell him to get me a fight that weekend. But I know it's a pretty tough card to get on, just due to how expensive the tickets are and just how long it's been planned out for. You know what I mean? But I'm always down to jump on opportunities. I love to perform. I love to fight. If all goes my way, I wouldn't put it past me. That's for sure. I'm the kind of kid that I would fight. Just to put in perspective, my first two MMA fights were back to back, Friday night and Saturday night. I fought as an 18-year old on a Friday night, and a matchmaker came up to me at the fight after I smoked some kid and said, "Hey, I have a fight in this town, which was a couple hours away, tomorrow night, which was Saturday night." And he told me Tim Welch was headlining the card. And I was like, I've been talking to Tim for a minute about coming out to Arizona. I want to go fight, to go perform in front of Tim and show Tim I'm really about this shit. So I packed up my car the next day and went and drove to a different town and fought my first two fights back-to-back nights. You know what I mean? So I don't know too many people that have done that, especially for their first two MMA fights. And so I'm that kid that will do that kind of shit. Dana's going to love me, dude. I like to fight. I like to perform. I'm not coming to UFC for money. I'm coming on to put high-level performances for my fans. That's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to get the fucking gold belt by 2026. That's what I'm going to do, and yeah, I'm excited.
You feel to make the most of this opportunity, you have to go out here and you have to finish this guy?
I don't really feel like I need to. I just know that I'm gonna because of the kind of fighter I am and the skill set I have. On paper, the kid might look like a favorite or whatever they're gonna put it as. Because he's 12-0, but the Mafia doesn't really give a fuck about paper unless it's green, for one, and then for two, I just think stylistically it's a perfect matchup for me. I've been fucking fighting short grapplers my whole life. I love fighting short grapplers. That is what I prefer. I would literally pick this kid out of any opponent that I could choose from. I'd pick this kid. So, I don't necessarily feel like I need to, but I know I'm going to, and I know the fans are going to love it. And I think a lot of people are going to be surprised with what I do September 3rd.
For a guy who isn't in the UFC yet, I mean, you have a really good fan base. There's a lot of hype around you. Are you starting to really feel it? Are you starting to really feel the support right now in your career?
I mean, if you feel it by love and support, you mean? I mean, I feel the love and support more than ever, but like if I don't, it doesn't really make me act or feel different. I felt like I've been the champ my whole life because I've just kind of always expected myself to do this since about third grade. I used to lay in bed at night pissed off because I wasn't old enough to fight in the UFC yet. In my head, I've always been the champ, so it doesn't really make me feel any different, but I do feel the love and support, and I've never received love and support like that in my life, and that just adds that really it gives me a lot of power, to be honest. Like just getting that love and support from my fans and knowing that things are bigger than me and I'm doing this for these guys, like I absolutely love it, and they make me feel invincible 100%.
What's the ultimate goal for you, my friend? What do you want to accomplish with your MMA career?
I want to change the fight game. I want to break records. I want to get gold belts, multiple gold belts. I want to show kids that if I can do this, they can do this. I'm going to change the game. The game's not going to be the same once I'm done with it. That's for sure.
All right, Tommy, last question for you, my dude. In a perfect world, what is the outcome when you take on Austin Bashi September 3rd of the Dana White COntenders Series?
I'm going to put Austin Bashi's lights out September 3rd, 100%. Mafia's going to motherfucking moon. Let's go, baby.
Well, Tommy, man, I wish you nothing but the best. I really appreciate you hopping on here and talking to me, man. I'm so excited for this fight, dude. I think it's going to be the fight of the Contender Series.
It might not be the fight of the Contender Series, but it'll be the performance, that's for sure.
Absolutely, my friend. Well, I wish you nothing but the best. That's it for us today. That's Tommy McMillen. I'm Carlo Prusa. Take it easy, fight fans.